Jeff to click.
Okay, Pat, hey. Yep.
Was I on there?
You are now.
And you have to let people know that you're going to be recording on too.
We do. We did not record the last. So we're going to do a separate session with that attorney that was here and be able to put that on our website too. But our website's a little bit under construction. So we will find a place to house these recordings for spring conferences or any other thing that we do, training and have that available. So we are already recording, but what we'll do is when we trim all this, we'll take this front part out.
Got it.
But I still told that to the hay.
Oh, no, bring it on. But I'm sure they like a little spicy meat in every now and then. Yeah.
Are you from Silver?
I'm from Bryson.
Okay.
Yeah. But I've worked at
We
the-
love Brian.
Yeah, oh, you do?
Yeah.
I worked at that branch for 13 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then moved over here last year.
Okay,
So,
very good.
but I really love it over here too.
Yeah, best of both worlds.
Really is, yeah. But I really like it because my kids are over there. And so they used to always try to call me all the time to be like, get out of school for the silliest things.
Yeah.
But now they can't. They don't even bother me anymore. Like with the crazy stuff, like I have a headache or
Oh,
something all the
yeah.
time. I'm like,
What-
can we just come to the bank?
What ages are they?
15 and 8.
Oh my gosh, you don't look like you should be old enough to have a 15-year-old and an 8-year-old.
Keep it up.
Yeah.
Keep it
Ours-
up. Yeah.
Yay.
No. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Well,
'Cause
you're
I don't
very-
feel that way,
You're
but
very welcome.
thanks.
Indeed.
Thank you.
I catch my granddaughters calling their mom at work all the time. I'm like, I'm sitting right here. Why don't you ask me?
Yeah.
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 I know.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you whether it's something important enough, if I can't decide whether or not you need to call your mom,
All
Yeah.
right.
just text her. And
Yeah.
she can get to it when she can get to it. She works in a doctor's office.
Yeah.
She can't answer the phone every time.
Well, I can hardly answer anymore because they'll just keep calling and they're like, then I start getting text messages. It's like, can you not answer? And I'm like, no, I can't. Like, obviously I have a customer in my office or something.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've had them call me and they're like, oh, we just had a free day at the school today. And I was just seeing if you got that code on your phone yet, like a code was sent to my phone that they needed. And I'm like, I just usually say, I'm not gonna talk to you right now. I'm gonna get off the phone. This isn't the time. Isn't the time.
Right.
When I think it's an emergency, but, yeah, they're fun like that. Yeah.
So which bank is it? Oh,
United Community Bank.
United, okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. I think we have a branch in Waynesville too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
thought we did.
Yeah. Yeah, we're,
On Main Street.
That's right.
Yeah.
yeah. We're kind of like everywhere right now. I mean, we just bought some we're in Tennessee, North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, and in Alabama.
Gotcha, gotcha. Do y'all have rooms? I mean, I remember using rooms in the banks for.
Community
trainings.
room, yeah,
Yeah, do you have a community room?
we do.
I've met them before. With
Okay.
groups.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have to meet in those community rooms all the time.
We do, we still, and they're open back up to the community if they want to schedule a visit, to do something
Yeah.
there. The only thing we don't let happen there anymore is birthday parties.
Yeah.
Because people were pinning stuff on the wall and doing damage, and stuff. So,
Yeah.
once they fixed it up again, we allow meetings to happen, but not birthday parties or anything like
Gotcha.
that. Yeah,
Who
and
do
it's
you talk
free.
to?
anyone at the branch. We have an open calendar. We just make sure no one's using it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's neat.
Yeah.
That's neat.
it's a nice one. I think it's pretty good.
Put the band in.
that unmute you so they can hear you.
Afternoon, guys. I've got right at 2 o'clock. We still got folks joining. If you'll give us just a few more minutes and we'll be with you. Good to see you. Thanks for joining.
Yeah.
Good afternoon and welcome to the second session of Southwestern Commission's Area Agency on Aging Spring Conference. Good to see you all today. I do want to let you know that we are recording today. We remembered, we did it before we came on, but I did want to let you know that we are recording this one today, hopefully to be used in the future and potentially for you all to listen to it again. We are glad to see you. This is the second in a series, and we are, number one, asking you if you have questions, if you would put them in the chat. We'll be monitoring the chat to make sure that your questions are answered. I am pleased, very, very pleased to introduce you to a new friend of mine, actually. Her name is Cecilee Ashe. And she's a resident of Swain County. She's worked with United Community Bank for 14 years and is currently the branch manager here at the Silva location. Financial literacy is a topic that she's very passionate about, and she enjoys participating in schools and programs willing to educate others on this topic. And I will tell you that when I first reached out about this topic to folks, trying to get some experts to be able to give you good information, Cecilia called me back. She was on her way to Florida. She's that passionate about it. I was very impressed with that. She said, "Oh, I'm happy to talk to you." Yes, please. I love this topic. So we're glad to have her today. Please welcome her. She's going to give us some good information in it. And again, if you have questions, put them in the chat and we'll have a question and answer time towards the end of the session.
How are you today? I'm okay. I'm in a video.
Sure, everybody's in. Yeah. All right.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me. I was excited to have this opportunity as we do see a lot of elderly fraud in the banking system, and getting that word out there is quite difficult. We do put a lot of educational tips out there in our lobby, and really talk to our customers. But having an opportunity like this, definitely wanted to jump on because it's such a regular case that we see at the branch, and I'm sure at several branches, of course. So my main goal was to educate and make others aware of the common elderly fraud that we see at the bank. And though there is several of them, I want to cover the top four. And the top four are the sweetheart scams, mailed scams, phone scams, and then the family, friend, and caretakers. So the first one's a sweetheart scam. And these are things I just hope that this can make everyone aware of and see the red flags of it all. And it's when they meet someone online, okay? This is more common than you think. That's why I put it as the top main one, because we have a lot of people looking for love out there, and they meet someone online, they fall in love with them through basically just email communication only and occasional phone calls. This scammer spends time doting on them and giving them lots of attention and taking interest in their day-to-day life, constant communication. You can depend on them to be constantly talking to them, and just what we call love bombing them, basically just, making them feel like they are the only thing out there in the world and they love them so much, there's just no way they would do any harm to them. And so this does great for a while. They have someone, they do take their time with this scam. And then eventually what they do is they need money. They need money wired to them. They need their online banking access to do an external transfer. They need her or him to buy gift cards, cash only, send those over. Well, they don't have to send them over, I'm sorry. You just take a picture of it. Take a picture of the gift card right away, and they have that money spent.
You can take a picture?
You can take a picture of the gift card and they can use it instantly.
Oh.
Yeah. And they take a picture of it, and then in a lot of the scenarios is an unexpected emergency came up with a family member. They'll hit your heartstrings with that. Or they really want to come visit you, but they just don't have the funds to do so. And obviously they just get the money and then they never hear from them again. We see this a lot in the bank, and we'll have customers come in, and I just want to make sure that people are aware when the bankers are not trying to be nosy, we're not trying to be like, what are you doing with that? And, you know, in a nosy way, it's really, if we don't ask questions, there's a lot of times people are ashamed to say, hey, I gotta send my man or my girlfriend some money, and they won't tell you. They're ashamed, they're embarrassed, or whatever that is, or they know it sounds iffy. And so a lot of times we prompt the questions like, okay, is this a family member? Like, is this, we've prevented so many people losing their money just by asking the questions. Because it's quite common. They're like, yeah, they just need money. I'm like, you don't know who they are. You don't know their address, their full name. Like, there's just so many things about it, and we've been able to prevent it. And sure enough, when they don't send the money, they don't hear from them again. So that's one of the top scams we see. And buying airplane tickets, they'll, you know, you go ahead and purchase them, a flight here, but they never show up. Or if they do, you don't see them, you know, you just brought them a trip here.
So so do they ask them to buy them an
They do.
airplane ticket?
Mhm.
And how does
So when they
walk
get
me
off,
through that?
so I've seen what we've had before is they go ahead and buy the airplane ticket. And if that person does show up, I don't know if they can ask for a refund or whatnot, but if they do come to the state, which is the typical scam is overstay, when they do come here, they won't meet that person. Like, and that person doesn't really know who they really look like. So when one is waiting on them, they don't know who they're waiting for. So they just bought them tickets here. Yeah. And, so that's quite common, but they really like the gift cards. The gift cards is becoming very popular. The second one is mail scams, forms of award-winning letters, such as Publisher Clearinghouse, insurance reimbursement, Pepsi, Hershey, and Coke pension stock payments, bankruptcy. You might get letters that, you know, there's tax fraud, there's bankruptcy, like just fake loans, typical things. And a lot of them are more of like retirement and just award winning stuff. So they'll come in. The scam, how that works is a lot of times it's like, let's say it's about $3,000. The letter says, hey, you know, $2,500 is yours. We miscalculated. You could go ahead and cash this, take the cash this for 3,000, send us back 500. And then we'll continue your checks. You know, you're winning, but that was our mistake, blah, blah, blah. And you'd be surprised. They're like, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and send that right back. And a lot of times if we see those checks, and I'm like, can we see the letter that was with this? And you know, anytime they're asking you to send money back, should be your first cue that that's incorrect. You know, they'll say things like, we don't want to inconvenience you on having to wait for another check. So if you could just go ahead and send us this part back, you know, the next checks will be more prompt and efficient. But obviously that check would be returned bad, and they've already got $500 out of it. And then that customer's out $3,000. That's a lot of ones we see. But like I said, that is, you know, winning letters. Some people think they're like, oh, my ex-husband, my deceased husband or deceased wife out of retirement, I didn't know about. They'll come at you that way, like, oh, here's this check that you need to do and take care of. You have to send this to pay the fees back, things like that. So there's a lot of pension, stock checks, lottery, and award winnings. The third one is phone scams. This is another extreme popular one, and that's Microsoft Office. I'm not saying it's them. They pose as them, obviously, and Norton Home Security. And it's often they act like your bank representative. They can act like law enforcement, tax auditors, or tax collectors. What they'll do is they need it's always immediate and it's urgent. When they contact their customer, they're like, hey, like your computer's been hacked, for instance, for Microsoft Office. Your computer's been hacked. I'm going to need access to your computer right away before they steal all of your banking information. We got word of this. So they are in a hurry and they're panicked, and they help them get signed onto their computer and give them access to everything. So then they hack the computer. They start moving money out of their accounts and taking over everything. They basically can't use their computer again. That's a very, very popular one. And when they get that information, they get all of the information.
They discuss themselves as Norton or?
Okay, so this was like a Microsoft Office one. Norton Security does the same too. Not them, people pose as them,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, so what they'll do is pose as them and they can come in and shadow your computer. Basically, you're like, okay, give me access to this, and you'll tell them how to sign in, and they can take over your computer, shadow your computer from the access of their place and take over all of your information on there. That's very popular. And a lot of it is like, or they act like a bank representative. A bank representative, when they call you, will never ask you for your social, ever. We already know that, like, if you call us, we might ask you to verify the last four of your social to get information, but when we call you for any reason, it would not to be to verify that. We wouldn't ask you for that. So that's another way people get, a lot of them say, this is online banking. There's been fraud on your account. I'm gonna need you to tell me your debit card number, your full debit card number, make sure this matches. I'm gonna need your social security, your account number, whatever that might be, they ask. People get scared that all their money's gonna be taken, so they give this information but really has just gave them full access. The bank will not ask for that. They already know that. They're gonna make it, what they'll typically say is this charge yours? You know, and that's when we take action.
And they catch them in an emotional too.
Yeah, oh, yes.
Because when you get a call like that, you immediately, your emotions, you feel crisis mode
Yeah.
almost at that point. And I don't function well in crisis mode.
No, most people don't.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so your brain is not completely processing and working as it would normally.
Yeah,
And then you realize it after the fact, and that's where some of the
Too
fear
late.
and shame
yes,
happens.
it happens.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's a lot, I mean, I've seen scams come in where they lie about a family member that's been in, if there's a family member of theirs in major trouble, they need cash right away. They will get to the point where they're almost angry with them. It's a pressure thing, and it's like to stay on to them where they have to act quick without thinking. I've had customers come in before, like that I don't see typically come in often and try to, they're common, just get enough cash out to get through the week kind of thing. Come in and be like, okay, I'm gonna take pretty much all of their savings. Maybe it's 30,000 or whatever that is. I'm like, you're gonna take all of this out? Like, you can, but like, are you sure you wanna take the cash out? Are you sure you don't wanna take a cashier's check instead? Because that can be tracked, and if you lost it, we could get your money back. If you send cash away, I can't get that back. Try to explain, and sometimes a lot of them will come in, they're like, I'm not telling you, I'm not gonna tell you, that's none of your business, and I'm like, I understand, but I just really want to make sure that you're not being scammed. I'm not, they're scared. Well, and then I had one guy had his phone in his pocket, and he pointed at it and he said he couldn't speak to me because he was told not to. And so,
Oh, no.
yeah, so I just took the phone and I went ahead and hung it up for him, and told him not to be afraid, that he can stay here with us. We'll call the police. And we saved him from sending off his cash out. Sometimes it's like I said, member or land. If you go ahead and send us this money in cash, we'll go ahead and give you a discount rate, and you won't lose all your land. You won't lose your home. There was some sort of tax levy on it. They'll scare them to the point where they have to feel like they need to take action right away. Then they've come in the next day and been like, I did send money in cash. I shouldn't have done it. Like, they've really thought about it. Sometimes I've been able to get in touch with FedEx and find the envelope and get to it before it gets to the person, but it's a very rare occasion that we can actually collect that before it gets to their hands, because it's usually the next day. Okay. All right. Then the fourth one is family, friend, and caretakers. Sadly, I'm sure most are aware that unfortunately it is the family that tends to be the common ones who, with elderly abuse, they will have the account holder call, prompt them what to say. We can hear that over the phone. They'll be like, just ask for your balance. you know, and ask them to transfer this and do this, and you can hear that, and we really try to take time to ask the customer, like, are you comfortable with this? Like, is this something you really want to do? Sometimes they keep us on speakerphone the entire time. You know, then we'll say, can you come into the office? We really need to speak to you in person, kind of thing. We try our best to prevent it if we hear it, of course. Unusual withdrawals, checks to family, weekly, daily, just for doing common day things. And not to say that's not a natural thing from time to time, but you can tell when one's taking advantage because they're getting $50 a day for whatever, you know, just to have it. We have family coming in fighting over who's going to be with the customer, coming in, who's going to be a joint owner on there, who needs to be the beneficiary. That's a constant thing. They want to come in and be joint owners or a beneficiary, and pretty much just state that they're just incompetent. And I'm like, you'll have to get something from the clerk of court to get away with that.
So you come into your bank and they argue?
Often. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they'll come in with, and then they'll pressure that person right in front of you, be like, you cannot make decisions. You need to make me a beneficiary. You need to make me a joint owner. And there might be several cases that's a genuine
Sure,
situation.
sure, of
Absolutely.
course.
And, but, when you got one niece coming in there with, and then
Right.
another, it's a nephew, and they're fighting over who gets to be the beneficiary or the joint owner. We reassure them all the time, like, well, we are looking out in their best interest. They don't have to have that if they don't want to, or unless it's, you know, court ordered. So, we see a lot of that, and it's, or they'll forge in their family's checks, to write a check out to them. Large withdrawals, and, back to the gift cards. The gift cards is another huge one. I've even let like a lot of Walgreens and CVS and pharmacies and Walmart know, like, please make sure your employees are aware when someone is coming in, especially an elderly person coming in, and they're buying multiple $500 gift cards or whatnot, that, you know, just really be like, man, I hope this isn't, you know, just have some sort of conversation that's like, this is a big scam. Surely, is this for a family member? Is this for a friend, like grandkids, or something's coming up? It's different at not Halloween, Christmas time. But they'll just come get cash. They won't tell you why. You know, go get $1,500, go get 3 gift cards, send them, take a picture of it, and it's gone. So when they try to go get it right back, and we're like, hey, let's go get your money back, you know, and they're like, they take it right back. They can't because the money's already gone. And they're confused too, because the cards are in their hands. They're like, no, I still have them. It's immediately gone. So you can't trace that. So,
Yeah, the picture gets me.
I know,
The
yeah.
picture gets
The
me.
picture gets.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you think about it, there's nowadays, those gift cards are very much like debit cards.
Same.
And when I say the gift cards, it's like the Visa gift cards.
Yes.
You know, it's just, so what they typically buy is just Visa gift cards.
And you can buy gift cards. It used to be that you could only like get a gift card at the merchant, whatever you were getting the gift card from, or at the bank.
Right.
You can only, but now you can go to CVS or,
Mhm.
and I don't mean to disrespect
Oh,
anybody,
no.
but
absolutely,
you
yeah.
can go to CVS and get Starbucks
Yeah.
or Amazon
Yeah.
or you name it, and you
Yeah.
can get a gift card at pretty much anywhere, Walmart, CVS,
Everywhere.
Walgreens, everywhere.
Yeah,
You don't have to go to the merchant, nor do you have to go to the bank.
right.
So it's easier in my mind
Yeah,
for that to happen.
exactly. And because, you know, typically those retail offices are not going to ask somebody like, why are you getting a gift card? You can go to
Yeah.
self-checkout, you can do whatever you want to, you know, they don't think anything of it. It's not something they see on day to day. They don't know the repercussion of it. That customer doesn't come back in there and is like, you took all my money, like, no, you know, type of thing. But that's what we see often is, help me get my money back. And we want to, but when you take that cash out, there's only so much we can do, but we'll try to help. But that's why we try to get the message out there, like, please be cautious of the gift cards. And that's a huge thing, because wires, they have to come in. And we usually ask the questions enough to find out most of the time, or we can refuse it. And we've had to do that before, when we, without a doubt, know it's a fraud. You know, And then, but that's what we. Like, they're.
Sorry. Somehow we got bumped off. We're reconnected. Are folks with us now? Eddie said, okay. All right, thank you. My apologies. Technology is awesome until it isn't, right? Would you mind to ask your question? We got knocked off.
Sarah, it seems like the volume's going in and out a little bit. I don't know if everyone else is experiencing that.
Okay, thank you, Eddie.
That's better.
Okay. All right. It took it. All right, how's that, Eddie? Okay. All right, Pat, ask yours.
I was just wondering when they started accepting pictures.
Yeah,
of the card.
I'm not real positive when they started accepting pictures. I just feel, I guess where it's very similar to a debit card. Those Visa gift cards is that you can take a picture of it with the numbers on the front and then the numbers on the back. And they can either purchase something, maybe another gift card so they can have cash. If I knew how great, how they did what they did, I think I'd be really rich. But I wish I could figure it out, but they are very thrifty like that and very knowledgeable in those areas. But that's how they're doing it. It's the quickest way, so they don't have to worry about getting it mailed or, or lost in the mail. Yeah.
For sure.
If anyone has a question, please put it in the chat, but we do have one at this point. Can residents set a withdrawal limit per day to preclude a large withdrawal scam?
So, we do have scenarios where because technically if it's your account, you can take out whatever you want. However, if you have like a rep payee on the account, the rep payee can make a note on there if they're over the financials of it. They can make a note that says person can only get $40 a day. They can come in and withdraw, but they only need to get $40 a day. If it's higher than that, then you need to contact the rep payee. The rep payee typically writes obviously the check for the $40 a day, or they can come in and do a withdrawal. So they don't have to work when they open the account or get added onto the account, but that's more of a rep payee situation. We couldn't just set that on a single owner with no authorization.
Other questions or something else you need to add while we're waiting?
I think I covered what I wanted.
Okay.
The main part. Yeah.
What questions do you have? Or anybody here? I know we've been kind of asking as she went along too, so that's good.
I don't have a question, but I have an example. My girlfriend found some kind of app where you were supposed to be able to earn or win money. But then, like, they wanted all of her banking information,
Mhm,
so they could put the money in her account,
mhm.
and they took money out
Right,
of her.
yeah. What I try to do is, because there probably is some legitimate, apps out there. I don't hardly doubt it, but but I'm sure there is, I've always advised too, like if that's something they're adamant about doing, like if they're like, oh, I'm gonna give my account information. I'm like, well, let's just open up a separate account. And let's just open up a separate account, put like $10 in there, and give that information. If we find that they have hacked that information, then we'll close it down immediately. They don't have access to all your funds. So sometimes we've prompted just a temporary new account, even though we just make sure that they know, like, you are giving that information out, you are liable for it. However, at least they don't have access to everything. So
That's a
we've
good
offered
idea.
that.
I like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a
Yeah.
yeah.
safety
Yeah.
net.
Yeah, and if it is legitimate, at least, when their deposits are coming in, they can proceed how they like, but just in case it's not, their funds are not wiped out completely.
All right, we have a question from Kim in Haywood. How do you determine when to contact law enforcement or adult protective services?
We have. Well, so the bank in our instance, I don't know how other banks, work with that, but we have a direct report that takes care of the adult protective services. We call it a SARS, a suspicious activity report.
Okay.
And so they can take over that situation and work with them. But as far as calling law enforcement, that is something that we would get with management and make sure that was the right call. And we have called before, like I've seen people come in and get people out of the nursing home that could barely even sign their name to come withdraw all of their money out, things like that. Like we've had to make a phone call and we brought to the attention that the person who was even driving them didn't even have valid license, and not even sure how they were able to sign them out of the nursing home. So just brought to their attention those types of scenarios. But we have contacted, it's just if we bluntly see it, but we have to be very cautious. But it is something we note right away, to let all the other branches know. Kind of like a little note we put on there, like, just be cautious. This person's been coming in with this person all the time. It could be fine, but let's just be.
Have our antennas up.
Exactly. Just be aware. And if you see anything that we need to, contact anyone about, just please make it all branches aware. So we do make we can. Sometimes it's very difficult because that person knows what we're doing and they don't feel comfortable with it and they won't let them speak to it.
Which is a red flag.
Right.
That's a red flag in itself.
Exactly. Yeah. So we try to make it as difficult sometimes, but we have to follow policy, but we try to. And give that to me, even if they were being prompted to say it, it's a thin line.
All right, we have another question from Denise in Cherokee County. What rights does a beneficiary have versus a co-owner?
Okay, so a joint owner equal rights to the account. So if they're a co-owner, either can do whatever they can take the money out, they can withdraw, beneficiary is one, if we have a beneficiary on the account, if they pass, that money goes to them. Yeah.
You got a question?
The older man that comes in with the new girlfriend, or the new caretaker, caregiver, or it could be more than one that comes into the bank with them and is having them withdraw, which is similar to what you were just talking about, coming from a different, but from a facility, so to speak. But do you ever approach that person to discuss personal matters like that?
Do I approach the caregiver or the girlfriend?
The,
Or the
let's say,
customer.
The customer.
Oh, absolutely. You know, we've had to, in situations before, I'm like, I'm gonna need to speak with this customer if they personal account information. You know, we've had situations like that and they came into my office or my manager's office at that point in time. And like, is this something you're comfortable with? Do you know who this is? You know, sometimes it's a phone call we have to make afterwards. Again, it's really a thin line what we can do, but I will say I can easily speak for United because I've worked in several of their branches. That is something that they're consistent in, is trying to make contact to that individual as privately as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard place to find yourself.
It is.
Both ends of the spectrum, you know, the older adult or whomever we may deem is potentially being abused or taken advantage of,
Yeah,
as well as the bank personnel.
right.
It's a tough place to be,
Mhm.
because we deem banking information as personal.
Yeah,
We all do.
yeah.
Or at least most of us. Nothing is 100%. Most of us do. And so when someone is questioning our motives, questioning what we're doing, all of those things, then sometimes that puts you on the defensive, even if you shouldn't be.
Right. Yeah.
Or even if it is not an inappropriate situation, we find ourselves in.
It's a very defensive matter, that, you know, they get upset just because, you know, they feel like it's none of our business, or of course, this person loves me, you know, they wouldn't do that to me. And I'm not saying it's okay for us to make accusations, but it is something that we see and we try to ask and try to prevent, but
Yeah,
you can only do so much.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about not just for financial issues, but other issues. As long as we are cognitively able to make decisions, we all have the right to make bad ones.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
and that includes all of us.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And the issue comes when our cognitive ability is no longer able to make those decisions. Is where there is the potential disconnect and someone needs to step in to help us. But then we also have to be careful who that person is that steps in to help us as
Right.
well. Because they need to have the right motives, and our best interest at heart.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a hard place to be.
Because they will wipe out everything you've worked for sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes, yes, and most of the time, or at least when we hear it, it's after the fact.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that can be done.
Done.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's what we see too. So that's why I was very grateful for the opportunity to hopefully get the word out there and make people aware and just be more cautious of it, because again, you know, that's a very thin line that are the only things we can do at the bank. And it's something we see often. I mean, people they have worked their whole life for this, and somebody can just wipe it out in a matter of no time. And they have no idea. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions? All right, we'll give you a few more minutes to think about them, and you can put them in the chat. But while you're thinking, those of you that have been on spring conference with us before know that we have a door prize. And we, those of you that are as old as me, remember Hollywood Squares. And so we look at our Zoom account and pick a number. We actually did it randomly today. So the number is 12. And what happens is I count down on my screen, and number 12 is Savannah James. So you are the lucky recipient of our door prize today. And Lisa is getting ready to share with us what that door prize is. We got to give Anna just a moment so that you can be seen.
All right.
So give it just a thought. The owl is thinking, he's blinking at me.
Yeah. Oh,
There we go.
I see that.
There it is.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
Savannah. You won a kitchen set, a rolling pin, an oven mitt, an apron, a charcuterie board. So congratulations, you're our winner. And we will get this in the mail to you.
Yeah, Savannah, do we know Savannah? Does that name?
Savannah?
Savannah, if you would put your address or a phone number in the chat for us,
That'd be
then
great.
we can make sure that we connect with you. All right, anything else, folks? Thank you. Is that in Silva? We have one comment in the room. Go ahead, Sarah.
Well, as a member of the Community Advisory Committee, I'm thinking, what can a facility do to educate or prevent these kinds of frauds? Would you be available to go and give an educational presentation at a assisted living or nursing home facility?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is something I know several of our branches would like to participate in, but yes, I would be happy to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Savannah, we got it. Thank you. All right, folks, good to see you today. Remember, we will have our next session, next same bat time, same bat channel next week, and it's Medicare. And so our friends, SHIP volunteers who are in Haywood, Swain, and Cherokee County will be leading that discussion about everything you ever wanted to know about Medicare. Good to see you. Enjoy the beautiful weather. It's gorgeous outside. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye, everyone.